Transform Norms project is a peer learning collaborative.
This is a program that is approaching change in society from the inside out.
We are bringing leaders who are working in different sectors, and one way or another, their work intersects with social behavioral change, so that we can have an opportunity to talk about social norms as an approach to think about all of the aspects of social and development work that requires us to think about community change in a large-scale way.
Social norms are really all about expectations. It's what our expectations are of people around us. So norms are very, very important in all of those areas, and sometimes they are enforced by those in power. And so to fight for the rights of people, I think it's important to take that into account.
One of the gems I've had is that social norms is maybe the newest currency. Changing mindsets is going to be very valuable in the future. So really putting that into practice.
The project Transform Norms is really critical right now in 2026 because of all the instability and upheaval we're seeing in the sector. So everything from the pressure in terms of funding to political instability really calls for a concerted effort to build what I would like to call radical collaboration across different sectors in Africa to really reimagine transformation and the work we collectively do towards equality, justice, and health.
When selecting for the second cohort, we had an African focus. We have fellows from Kenya, Nigeria, Zambia, Tanzania, South Africa, and Ghana, and who are working in the for-media profit space, who are working in philanthropy, who are leaders in civil society, faith, and culture, and those who are already starting to think about the next generation of philanthropy on the continent. It was important for us to select leaders who, one way or another, are looking towards using their work and their influence to change social norms.
But another thing that Transform Norms really focuses on is a long-term fellowship. So we are together as a program for more than 10 months with an intense in-person retreat, which we're doing right now here in Kenya. So we're mixing online and offline learning, but also focusing in on expertise from many different sectors and bringing together people to just learn from each other, listen to each other, and kind of break down the way we usually think about the work we do.
I love how the training was curated, where we have active times where we're out. It's such a beautiful space that we are in for the retreat. So it was a very hands-on, very active training where we're not just sitting down in class all day. So I loved that, and it allowed us to get to know ourselves and get to learn about each other in a more fun manner.
In all the programming that I do, social norms is front and center, and I'm able to pick up some of the gems that I've had from yesterday and today into the work that I do.
I think I've been somewhat fascinated by the interdependent nature of what it takes to move norms forward, and learning to identify what those are, hearing them from people who are doing real work on the ground as being a different level of eye-opening. I think for me, the most important tool I've learned is the behavior change model.
Thinking about what is their ability to be able to implement that change, what is their motivation to implement that change, and what prompts or incentives do we now need to create to get them to act in ways that are going to be beneficial for investments in health and economic growth in African countries.
And so a model like this is very important, both to design a program that speaks to how we can achieve this behavioral change. So there's a lot of prompters and things I'm learning here that I'm going to find very useful for this particular program.
I think for me, the success of this program really depends on, are we unlocking or able to unlock ways for fellows to think differently, act differently, and be differently.
And I believe that at the end of the program and after maybe a few months or years, we'll actually begin to see that the change is actually even more achievable than now when we feel like it's too far away, like it's a pie in the sky. It's going to be more practical because then we now understand how behavior change happens and how we can drive that.
I now have a lot of tools, a lot of frames of reference for how to effectively understand what the underlying mechanisms are. And professionally, that translates into me being more committed to supporting outcomes, such as, improved gender outcomes in ways that are measurable.
And I believe what I've learned will help make things easier and build things faster.